To acknowledge the traditional owners on the land which we meet, the Kabi Kabi or Gubbi Gubbi people, and acknowledge their elders past and present. All right, a little bit on my history and tell you what top bloke I am. But in 1999, my family moved to Kin and we lived the dream, etc., etc. And like so many people in the Noosa community, we got drawn into a political and development campaign to fight to protect what keeps Noosa special. But yeah, basically since then I've been volunteering and participating in environmental, school and community groups, acted in executive roles and been a submission writer and researcher for numerous organisations. And in 2008 I ran as an independent in the Sunshine Coast Regional Council, and in 2016 I ran for the Noosa Greens in the Noosa Council election. Currently I'm a Noosa Residents and Ratepayer Vice President, involved in numerous other community groups, Sunshine Coast Climate Action Now, involved in a Sunshine Beach High School glossy black cockatoo protection project, and I could go on. But probably the biggest thing I've done this year is I ran a petition against the Adani coal mine, where I got 3,500 Sunshine Coast basic signatures and tabled in the state parliament petition, which really put down the community's concerns about water and in particular the $900 million NAIF loan. And I did ask the state government to refuse that loan, so I'll take credit for that. Anyway, from 15 years experience involved in all of these particular groups, I've come to the conclusion Noosa does need to be represented by a strong, independent representative with integrity, answerable only to the community and uncompromised by the self-serving political party system. Being proactive in the Noosa community has given me the opportunity to really understand what makes Noosa tick. And with so many family members and friends who work in the tourism and hospitality industry, whether we like it or not, Noosa's economy probably will be for a very long time based in the tourism sector, which, when you consider the fluctuating economies of many other regions in Australia, I think we need to be thankful that we have a strong and sustainable tourism dollar coming in. But of course, it's not just tourism in Noosa. We have aged care, which provides so many services and employment for so many people. And then, of course, we can't forget our tradies. Our tradies that are working around the clock to keep Noosa ticking over. In the hinterland where I come from, I also actually believe there's genuine opportunities for ecotourism and to develop sustainable agricultural and revegetation projects, which can also employ young people. Given my past as a tree hugger and tree planter, I think it's a great way to spend the day, and I almost wish I was just doing that all day instead of standing up here shaking in front of you. But as someone who's been on worked in small business and struggled along raising a family in the hinterland, I think cost of living is just such a major issue for so many in the Noosa communities, particularly those on fixed incomes. The price of water is going up ridiculously when we know that Unity Water is making $100 million profits and is completely capable of dropping our bills. The dams are all full, so what's going on, guys? Electricity, if you drill down into it, and I did when I was working with the Queensland Greens on policy, we are being absolutely ripped blind. The whole thing requires an overhaul of the mining industry as well as the electricity industry to deliver cheaper residential and industrial power to keep our whole manufacturing and other industries competitive internationally. It's a ridiculous system when Japan is paying half the price for our gas than we are to run our own businesses. That sort of thing can only happen in a two-party political system where both parties are compromised by the donations they are receiving from the big end of town. The reality is that solar energy, from the research that I've done and from just recently attending the Solar Council of Australia Forum, is being produced at 25% the cost of fossil fuels. This means that there is huge amounts of potential, particularly with the Burdekin projects to provide, and Kidston projects, which are pump hydro, to provide cheap, sustainable, dispatchable power for our community. I think we actually need to quarantine our gas. The state has the power to quarantine our gas, and they shouldn't wait for the federal government to do something about it. That's something that needs to be done straight away. There's a policy I heard recently from One Nation on aged care, and I actually completely agree with it. We need an ombudsman to ensure retirement villages and unfair contracts and fees are reduced, because that's the section of our community where we're being ripped off. I'll have a couple of sentences, but that'll do me for now. Thank you.